something hours of sweat on my back's got my shirt soaked and sour. And it's already gone. Second night's coming and I'm spinning back around. We're all caught up, can't hear or feel a sound. And it's already gone. And here comes the feeling when you don't got nothing and all you want to do is get up and start running. You can't hide long cause you know it's gonna start up again. Here's one thing that I know for certain, is life's too short to be worrying about you hurting for long. Oh, it's already gone. Got time but money's not something that's free. Seems the road that dice never rolls back to me. And oh, it's already gone. A bird in my hand, two cans in the other, start spinning around. Now here comes another, and oh, it's already gone. And here comes the feeling when you don't got nothing and all you want to do is get up and start running. You can't hide long cause you know it's gonna start up again. Here's one thing that I know for certain, is life's too short to be worried about you hurting for long. Oh, it's already gone. And all you want to do is get up and start running. You can't hide long cause you know it's gonna start up again. Here's one thing that I know for certain, is life's too short to be worried about you hurting for long. Oh, it's already gone. Already gone. It's already gone. Go.
What is up, Jags fans? Here we are, ready to go, talking Jags week 4. I know we're 0-3. Listen, I know we're 0-3. You don't have to tell me that, okay? But the good news is we're going to try to stay positive this show. All right, here's why. Now, I need you to hear me out. I know everyone's doom and gloom. I know everybody wants to talk about how bad we are and how we're going to get housed by the Texans. But I think I can make a case where we might be all right. I went back and watched the Texans' last 3 games. The Vikings game last week where they got beat pretty good. The Colts game in week 1 and the Bears game in week 2. And I kind of feel like they have some chinks in their armor. So we're going to get to all that. We're going to take a look at a few clips here to take a look at what we're going to have to do to win if the Jags want to right the ship. And I'm going to try to stay positive. If you guys watched me on Club Jaguar Wednesday night, I was on with UCF Jaguar and Travis Holmes, and I kind of made a case where the Jags could be in a much better mood starting Monday of next week. I know it's a long shot, but I think I'm going to be able to convince you. All right. So just hang tight. We're going to get there. Let's bring some good. Listen, it's Friday night. It's Friday night. Let's bring some good vibes. All right. Let's bring some good vibes there. All right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Everything in the video description. There's all kind of stuff. This show is brought to you by Racha Sriracha. All right. Go get yourself a nice bottle of Racha Sriracha. The link is in the video description. This is made by a Jags fan, a channel member, Nolly Full Cab, here in the chat. It's delicious sriracha sauce. I love hot sauce. I love spicy. I love sriracha. I love it all. There's some good stuff, so make sure you get it. If you put Jags United somewhere in the order, they'll give you the teal label, right? Because we're Jags fans. So get you some. It's really good. Also, if you have a business and you're a Jags fan and it's a good business, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, and I will promote it free of charge because I want to see Jags fans do well. I don't need your money. I want you to do well in life. So hit me up if you have a business. I'm going to vet it first, though, and make sure that it's a good one. And then I'll promote it here on the show. It's a fan show, by the way. So if you didn't know that, this is your first time watching. We're on Twitter now. We stream live on Twitter now. So there's a bunch of new people that come into the show. This is a fan show. I'm a fan. You guys are fans. So get into the comments. I try to hit every single comment. I don't always do it, especially on the film breakdowns, and especially when you guys hit a little degeneracy in your comments and they just kind of come too fast and I can't get to them all. So if it's a good one or I missed it or something like that, just type it again. You guys know the deal. The regulars know the deal. So we're going to hit a few comments, and then we're going to jump into the Texans film and take a look at what the Jags are going to have to do if they're going to win on Sunday in Houston. First comment, first one in the chat is Jag or not, and he says, what's up, Jags United? Not much. Just chilling here at the house. I made it safe through the hurricane. Luckily, I'm on the east side of Florida, and the west side of Florida is more who got hit. So happy to say that I am safe and sound. I lost power for like a minute and a half last night, like 3 a.m. I don't know how I woke up. I woke up because like my AC turned off and like I keep some lights on in my living room, like a lamp or something. I noticed it went off. So lost power for like a couple minutes, flickered a couple times in the morning, but we are all good. We're all safe and sound. Anyone who was in the path, I hope you're okay. It seems like there's another one out there. I follow a lot of surf report pages, and they're all kind of reporting that there's another one out there looking like it's taking the same trajectory of this last one. So here we go. Kyle says, shit, here we go again. Guy says, now. Let's get that dub, says Paulo the Dev. Robbie Santa says, smash the over. Well, I mean, the Texans only scored 7 points last week. So, and I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to get to that. Let me get to it now. So a lot of Jags fans are like, the world's ending because we lost to the Bills on primetime TV. Mac Jones came in because we were getting beat so bad. Trevor didn't look good. Offense couldn't score points. Defense couldn't stop anybody. Let me tell you who else is coming off of a game where they lost to one of the best teams in the league. They couldn't get anything going on offense. They couldn't stop the defense. CJ Stroud did not look good. And in fact, Davis Mills came in at the end of the game and threw 12 passes because they were getting beat so bad. So what I'm trying to tell you is the Jags and the Texans are coming off of very similar games. This one hurts more because we're 0-3 and they're 2-1, and ours was on Monday Night Football and theirs was a normal game. But they are also reeling from a bad loss last week. So if we pull off a win, we're 1-3. We're one game out of the division lead. We beat the division leader. And not only would we have beaten the division leader, Houston's now spiraling after getting embarrassed by Minnesota, losing to the Jags. We get some momentum going. We have the London trip ahead of us. We're always good on the London trips. Things are not over. The season is not over, all right? It's not a great start, but the season by no means is over, all right? We can pull off this win in Houston, and I think I know the formula. I watched all of what Houston and Slowick did with the offense. And I found the formula to beating the Texans. Now it's just, can the Jags do that formula? But it's not over yet. Now, if we go 0-4 and we get embarrassed by the Texans, then we can have another conversation. We can have another conversation then. But I'm not gonna just go ahead and quit now. I'm not quitting now. Okay. So let's relax. Let's just all relax for a second. Let's take a deep breath. Ace Sharpshooter says CJ Stroud's going for 415, 5 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, starting him in fantasy now. Robbie Santa says either we beat the Texans or we get blown out and Doug gets fired. Either way, I'm happy. That's a positive spin. Rainer, we're doing this now. Callie Jag says, I don't even know how to feel. At least when we used to suck, we expected to lose. This is rough. Like, I know you typed that before I made my comment, but let's not give up yet. I know things don't look good, but let's not give up just yet. Let's have a little bit of hope until Sunday. Let's see what happens. Like I said, I already outlined it. If we beat the Texans, they're reeling. They are reeling. Back-to-back bad losses for them. The Titans are similar position of us. The Colts, Anthony Richardson does not look good. Things are not over. Davis Humphrey says, did you hit the gym today? You're looking good. And then, is that shirt a medium? I did hit the gym today, and I minimized your comments so you could see the shirt. This is actually a large because I wear a large, and I've talked about this before. I know it has nothing to do with the Jags, and I won't spend a lot of time on it. But I'm at a weird size where like larges look like this after a couple washes. This is obviously an old shirt, so it's shrunk. But then extra larges are like too big. So I'm like, I wish like why is there only small, medium, large, and extra large? Why is there only 4 sizes for like the average guy? And actually the average guy is probably between medium and extra large. Why is there only 3 sizes for the average guy? Think about the billions of average guys that live on this planet. There's 3 sizes of shirts. Why isn't there like an in-between of large and extra large? Because that's what I would buy, whatever that is. So if I'm having to pick between the large and the extra large, I'm going to pick the shirt that fits a little bit better. But thanks for noticing. I did go to the gym today. And knowing Davis, he probably skipped today. He takes 4 rest days, works out one day, and then takes another rest day. So he does like two days a week he works out. Robert Atron says, well, everyone's hurt. Good luck with winning. But the Texans have hurt people too. Nico Collins is practicing, but he's a full practice today, but he's like not 100%. Joe Mixon is questionable, and I'm telling you right now, Joe Mixon makes a huge difference in that offense. When Joe Mixon played against the Colts, he helped their offense a lot. Without Joe Mixon, because Dameon Pierce is out, without Mixon, they have Cam Akers and then DJ Ugalaware used to play for the Jags. Tank Dell's questionable. Jimmy Ward's out, so they're dealing with injuries too. Good vibes, says channel member RM Skip. Like up. Yeah, like the video. I mean, the last few videos have gotten a lot of likes, so I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Ben Wilmoth, I appreciate your positivity, but we're cooked. I can't do it. Let's get a new GM coach combo to build a better culture. Ben, all I'm saying is let's see what happens this week. Yeah, he goes on to say, if we win Sunday, we're so bad. We'll see what happens this week. We got the London trip coming up. We do good in London, and we're playing the Patriots and the Bears. Those are 2 winnable games. Like, let's just see. We got the Colts, who don't look good either, with our Prowler jerseys. If we beat the Texans, we have a chance of going, like a legitimate chance of going on a 4-game winning streak. Like, legitimate chance. So, Ron Beedry says, hey, Jags fans. Hey, Ron. Guala Q says, I got the script before the season. Buckle up, boys. It's about to be a fun ride from here. Let's go. Let's go. Luffy says, need a win Sunday. If not, someone needs to be fired. I feel like they won't. I know I've seen this on social media. I don't think they're going to fire anybody until after London, if I had to guess. Jaggernaut, glad to hear you're good over there, Jason. Take it easy, my man. Thank you. I hope you're good too. Nolan Kowal says, hey, Jags United, just tuning in. What up, Nolan? Glad you're here. I love your Jacksonville profile pic there. I love it. Robert Asher says, I'm still on the generator since 2:30 last night. Oh, wow. Well, hope you get power back. Yo, what haul do we get for the number? We take Travis Hunter, right? The T-Law discourse from Cavs is going to make me go on the Joker arc. I love it. He did not look good last week. He didn't. And I said this on Club Jaguar. Like, I think the offensive line actually played their best game last week. Oh, but Cam Robinson gave up a sack, and Walker Little got beat, and Anton Harrison didn't look. I understand they had a few bad plays here and there, but as a whole body of work, the offensive line actually looked better last week than they've looked all year, and even before that, the games at the end of last season. Trevor had clean pockets. Etienne had like 7 yards per carry. I'm not saying they're good by any means, but I'm just saying that at least they looked better than they had in the past. Dad? I hope not. GoPro Connor says, season is definitely not over, but I need the Jags to show me a dub before I give them the benefit of the doubt. That's fair. That's fair. And I'm not arguing that. I'm just, when that first part season is not over. That's all I wanted to argue there. Jason, this is from Cy. Am I crazy to think Evan Ingram's our best offensive player? The offense is simply abysmal without him. I feel like he's our only player that can consistently get open. I would have probably tried to argue for, before the season started, I would have tried to argue for like Christian Kirk or Trevor Lawrence. Just based off the fact where I would have made the argument that Christian Kirk gets a lot of the focus, so they leave Evan Ingram open, and Trevor Lawrence makes all the throws happen. But after watching the first 3 seasons, I think that argument is actually fair. Absolutely. And I think the more time that goes on, we see that. So I don't think you're wrong at all. And I don't think we can get him back soon enough. Bro did chest. Bro did not do chest today. Bro did the gun workout. I did the arm workout. And today I did a little different. Today I did, again, I'm getting the Jags, but who cares? Who cares? I did preacher curls where I alternated wide grip and inside grip. And I did 8 sets of that. Then I did tricep extensions. And I did like open, I guess, supine grip. Could be wrong there. And then I did a pronated grip. And then I had 8 sets of that. Then I did pull-ups, reverse grip pull-ups, and then I did dips. Very simple workout, but it was arm day. It was arm day. So tomorrow's leg day. Not looking forward to that. We've been through way too much to quit now. Good point, Callie. Good point. We can tell. I like it. I like it. Bro's arms stretching a 4XL. Yeah, right, bro. Yeah, right, dude. I'm a slim 185. Slim 185. And that's where I've been for years. It's where I want to stay. Optimism on the streams. Doom posting on Twitter. Hashtag Jags United. All right, let's get to some film here. We're 18 minutes in. All right. So here's something like there's a couple of things that, okay, so here's the formula to beating the Texans. Okay, there's going to be 3 things here. And I'm going to put them in order of most importance. 1, you got to stop the run. You've got to stop the run. The Vikings did a great job of, like I said, Joe Mixon didn't play, but the Vikings did a great job holding them to nothing. Cam Akers had 2.3 yards per carry, right? So they definitely, like, and Akers took him most of the carries. They brought Ungabawale in on passing downs, but that was the key. They couldn't get ahead of the sticks because the Vikings wouldn't let them run. So number 1 is you got to stop the run. And I think the Jags defense can do that. You got to stop the run. All right. Number 2 is you have got to not let CJ Stroud throw it to the middle of the field. I know Ryan Nielsen knows this. You just cannot. Like, I was just watching it, and it was like a 12-yard pass, 10-yard pass, 8-yard pass, 15-yard pass, 12-yard pass. And so I didn't clip it. But then I got through like a handful of games. I started realizing it, and I was like, CJ Stroud is much more productive throwing in the middle of the field, and most quarterbacks are. But there was only a handful of times where Stroud was effective throwing it outside of the numbers. He had 1 corner route to Tank Dell in the Vikings game. That was pretty good, but like there wasn't a lot. And like really, he wants to throw to the middle of the field. And in fact, if his middle of the field read is not there, he typically just either scrambles or he throws it to the back out of the backfield. So I by the time I realized it, I clipped a couple of plays here. Let me see. All right, I gotta share the screen. Hold, please. I had to restart my computer before I went live because my webcam was not working. But it's not a problem. It's not an issue at all. All right, so this was in the Colts game. And again, like I'm talking about, like you've got to keep like basically from like here to here is where CJ Stroud wants to kill you. This is where he absolutely wants to kill you. So, I mean, like I would say play inside leverage. You see some inside leverage here to not let any inside releases. But when you get a bunch like this, I think he goes in motion. But when you get a bunch like this, it's hard. Your linebacker's got to be looking for this inside route here. But he wants the middle of the field here. Watch. So he plays inside leverage at the snap. Maybe it's head up, but he allows this inside release, and that's exactly where Stroud's looking. He wants the middle of the field. I mean, that's what he wants. That's really what he wants. We'll watch it again from the end zone. All right, here's against the Vikings. All right, again, same thing. He wants the middle of the field. Like, that's what he wants. I mean, this is against a cover. This is against a one high look. So, like, in theory, because you're going to see the safety's going to roll down here to the middle of the field, he just doesn't roll enough. In theory, this should be covered up. You have a dropping linebacker. I mean, this is a great route and just a great throw here. Like, you have to take it away because he wants the middle of the field. Another thing he can do is he can get outside of the pocket. This is against the Colts. And look where he throws it. Middle of the field. Even though he gets outside of the pocket, he's still looking middle of the field. Like, that's where he wants to hit the ball. But, I mean, you got to contain. I mean, do you play contain against him? I mean, the contain pressure, Travis made a good point on Club Jaguar, where the last few quarterbacks that we've played, Josh Allen, you look at Deshaun Watson. These are guys that like to get outside of the pocket. So he was making the argument that the D-line was just trying to contain and not trying to like get pressures. You have to do the same thing against, and the argument I made as a retort was that every quarterback in the NFL nowadays can get outside the pocket, besides a few. So again, they want that middle of the field. He can get outside the pocket. I'm telling you, if you take away the middle of the field, you take away his first read, and he has to check it down to the backs, or he has to scramble. I mean, across his body. That should be pick city. That should be absolute pick city right there. All right, we'll get to some more of these comments. How many more weeks does head coach Doug Peterson get? Well, it depends on if they win, right? If he goes 500 at the end of the season, I think he makes it to the end of the season and gets fired. If he goes sub 500, it depends on how bad it gets, and maybe he gets fired in the middle of the season. If he goes over 500, then he doesn't get fired. So it depends on the results of the next few games, to answer your question. I mean, it's hard. I understand what you're asking. If you're asking, like, what will it take for him to get fired? I would say probably a loss this week, and then losing 2 of the next 3. Now, remember, 2 of those 3 are in London, and then one of them's against the Colts at home. So if he loses to the Texans and then loses 2 of the next 3, I think he gets fired after that game, after London. I think that's what it would take. Playing quarterback Mac Jones would have now, you can't do that. You just cannot do that with the contract you're paying him. You just can't. You can't do it. What up, little bro? What's up, Sea Breacher? I'm glad you're here. Channel member Sea Breacher. Glad you're here. Let me, I miss Sea Breacher. Me and Sea Breacher used to play some games together. We used to have a little camaraderie. He's MIA, dude. He's absolutely MIA. Good for, maybe he's making moves. I don't know. Mac Gobbin says, why is the T-Law discourse so toxic? People really hate the guy for some reason. Well, I think if you combine the fact that people thought he was going to be generational coming out, the contract he currently has, the skill set he has, and the poor performance of the Jags over the last 10 games, that's why. And fans want to win. And when you don't win, and it's not just Trevor that they're blaming and being toxic toward. They're being toxic toward Doug Peterson. They're being toxic toward Press Taylor. They're being toxic toward Trent Baalke. They're being toxic toward Shad Khan. They're being toxic toward me. Just kidding. No one's toxic toward me. How could you be? If you're toxic to this is your life lesson, right? You got to reach a point in life where you make good decisions and you have your values narrowed down and you're like locked into like what you believe to where, and if you do everything the right way, you get to the point where and this is where I'm at, if anyone doesn't like me, they're the ones with the problem. And like that makes life a little easier because like now if I do something wrong to somebody, which I'd never typically do, maybe I mess up and maybe I offend someone on accident, or maybe I do something inadvertently to somebody. I'll take that. I'll take ownership of that. But for the most part, if somebody has a problem with me, they're the ones with the problem. I'm not the one with the problem. Now, these guys are in a professional entertainment sport where they're getting paid millions and millions of dollars to perform, and we're paying our hard-earned money. I even talked about on Club Jaguar, where like what frustrates me most about this team, and this sounds sad and selfish, is I am a huge fan and I want the Jags to win, but what pisses me off more than any of that is how much money, time, and energy I spend on this team. Time and energy, I would do that because it's fun. But the amount of money I spend going to Jags games, because like I don't just like I don't have a lot of money. I spend the little bit of extra money I do have going to Jags games, enjoying myself, to watch this team just crap on themselves. That's what pisses me off more than anything. Like I get 2 days off on the weekends. When I go to a Jags game, that's in my entire Sunday. So I get one day, Saturday, where I have to mow the lawn, clean my house, do all that stuff. And then my entire Sunday is going to the Jags to see the product they've been putting out. That's what pisses me off more than like Trevor or more than like Doug Peterson. It's like, to get your shit together, dude. I'm spending a lot of my time and money on you guys. All right. Have some respect for me. That was a rant I didn't expect to happen. Lednar 197 Gaming says, I just hate how people are saying Trevor has never been good and is a massive bust based on the box score. That's true. That's true. The Duval Dive says Friday night. Let's go. Where's the Duval Dive? He's supposed to be on tonight. Oh, send the link. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me do that real quick. Hold, please. Because it's always better when the Duval Dive's on. Always better. Let me do this real quick. Oh. Control V. All right. Maybe we'll see Travis here in a second. How do you think Ventrell will do in the place of Aluakon? Do you think Nielsen stops the D-line subs anytime soon? I don't think so. I think that excuse me. I think it's what he does. It's his bread and butter. I think people getting mad at the linebacker rotations didn't watch the game because I thought Muma and Ventrell Miller played better than Aluakon and Lloyd did. And Aluakon's good. He just is slow. And Ventrell Miller's not fast, but he's gotten faster since we drafted him. That I did notice because when he came out of Florida, he was injured. I watched him at Florida, and like you did not want him chasing down a running back. You did not want him taking an angle to the line of scrimmage, but he has been doing that really well with the Jags. So I don't know if he lost weight or got healthy or got faster. The opposite of maybe some of the other guys. T-Law better have a show Sunday. His better than what he's been playing. 21% left on my phone. No power from the storm. Sacrifice. Yeah. GoPro Connor, I hope you don't do biceps at the squat rack. No, I do not. I do not do that. Absolutely not. I will do, though. So the gym I go to has got like 4 squat racks, and then it's got like a little cage that could be used as a squat rack. I'm dying, boys. I will do standing shoulder presses on the cage. I won't do it at the squat racks because the cage also has like a pull-up bar, and I like to superset overhead press, shoulder press with toe to bar ab workouts. So I'm doing shoulders. My split is I do like individual muscle groups like every day. Like I have a leg day. This is my split: leg, chest, back, leg, shoulders, arms. Repeat. So I mix in abs with shoulders, and I mix in abs with sometimes with back, things like that. Meet me at the rack. Let's let the weight talk. Davis, you're like over 10 years younger than me, dude. When I was your age, I was putting up twice the weight you were. I'm an old man now, dude. Don't try to go pound for pound for me. Come on. You're not beating the Texans after the Texans' bad loss to the Vikings. CJ Stroud's angry. All right, I will show you this, though. Here's one thing that CJ Stroud does a lot that I noticed watching film. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? All right. This is against the Vikings. All right, watch this. You can't see. Now you can. All right. Tip ball. I was like, oh, that's unfortunate for CJ Stroud. Got his hands up and tipped the ball. Probably just a one-time mistake. Probably not a big deal. Then I saw this INT against the Vikings. Tipped ball. I was like, oh, okay. So D-line needs to get their hands up because apparently CJ Stroud has a problem, whether it's his arm angle or timing. He's having trouble getting the ball over the D-line. All right, so we'll see it from the end zone angle here. INT. Then I saw in the Bears game, he's going to try to throw a screen here. Tipped again. So obviously he's having a problem throwing the ball over the D-line. So I'm sure Ryan Nielsen has seen this. I'm sure they're all looking at this, but it's starting to become a trend with CJ Stroud where he's, I mean, I didn't really look at his arm angle here. Maybe we take a look at it. Is it a weird release? No, it's a normal release. So get your hands up, Jags D-line. Get your hands up. I'm telling you right now. Duval dive. We'll let him say it when he gets on here. Brenneman, do we get our first turnover? I hope so. Do we have another one here from Stroud? I think we have another turnover here. Okay. I will say this. Okay. Here's one thing that like isn't being talked about amongst Jags communities because quite frankly, I'm not trying to like say anything weird, but they just don't watch the film. I didn't watch every play from the first 3 games, but I probably watched 75% of them. So there's still like 25% of 3 games I did not watch. And in the 75% that I watched, Stroud had 2 interceptions that got overturned because of lucky penalties on the defense. This is one of them right here. Watch this. I don't know what the penalty's called on, but he had a couple of these that I saw where the interceptions were literally overturned by lucky penalties. It wasn't like offsides and Stroud throws a bomb. It was like Stroud had no idea the penalty was coming, makes a bad throw. Terrible throw. No one even close. You know something else here? Going back to my original point. Make him throw the ball outside the numbers. Make him throw the ball outside of the numbers. Now, this interception was called back, and he had another one against the Bears that was called back because of a penalty. That was like a bogus penalty. So he's not as perfect as he was last year, is all I'm going to say. Which is worse, O-line or D-line? Oh, geez. Probably the O-line, because I'm going to take Travis's word on it when he said that the D-line was playing more contain against 2 of the 3 teams we played. So you look at the Bills, Josh Allen, you contain Josh Allen. That makes sense. Deshaun Watson showed a lot of scrambling on film. We broke it down on this show here. You contain him. And then the Dolphins actually get the ball out of their quarterback's hands the fastest of any team in the NFL. So time to throw for the Dolphins, 2.1 seconds. Now, Trevor Lawrence's time to throw was 2.3 seconds, but that wasn't because of their strategy. That was because the O-line couldn't block for him. So they really, I know like you guys don't want to hear this, but the Jags' first 3 opponents were the least D-line friendly opponents they could have played. Now, obviously, we haven't played Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray or guys like that where you play contained similarly like you do to Josh Allen and Deshaun Watson. But I'm just saying you get a guy like C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, another guy gets outside the pocket, but then you go play a Jacoby Brissett. You go play Caleb Williams, who, although he is quick, doesn't really get outside the pocket that much. Those are guys where your D-line can pin their ears back and go. So I still am going to reserve judgment a bit for this D-line. It's the linebackers and the secondary on the defense who I think have been playing worse. The D-line's actually been doing well against the run. They just haven't gotten pressure against the pass. So I'm going to go O-line there. Our run game this week is going to open what we want to do. It's going to open up what we want to do. I hope so. 100%. Robert Harrington, channel member, says, I'm so disappointed on myself for buying Sunday ticket again. I get it. That's the thing. I mean, it's back to my thing about the link didn't work. Bruh. Copy. Travis. What are we doing here, Travis? Try that one. Travis. Let's see what happens. Yeah, no, I get it. Listen, I don't know. I mean, Sunday ticket's expensive. But yeah, I get it, man. I get it. Is Trevon Walker going to be on the team beyond his rookie 5-year contract? There's still a lot of time to play out. You're asking me to predict a lot of football games there, Richie. I know it's not fair to say, but if his contract was up this year based on the 2 seasons and 3 games he's had, I'd say no. But he's still got, I mean, he was a project player when we drafted him. He's playing in his natural position now. Let's give it more time. That's all I'm going to say. Joseph says, honestly, the most annoying thing about losing like this is everyone and their mom has an opinion and no one really knows, but they're frustrated. I get it, but it's annoying, so I avoid it as much as possible. Joseph, that's definitely a strategy. I find myself getting there sometimes. But that's the nature of the business. It really is. And I get it. I get it. It's bad. It's bad. Like, people I work with know I'm a huge Jags fan. Just like the people you guys work with or go to school with know that you're a big Jags fans. So they always have those snide comments about the Jags and passing. So my default now after Monday night's game was like, how about that Jags game? I go, oh, did they play? Didn't watch it. That's what I tell them. That way, I don't have to talk about it. It's a great strategy. I'd implore you to try it if the Jags continue the way they're going. Steve says, how many blue chip players do we really have? You can say Trevor, but he's not playing like it. I'd say Brian Thomas Jr. is a blue chip player. I'd say Evan Ingram's a blue chip player. Then you got some fringe blue chip players. I'd put Trevor Lawrence in that category. I'd put Travis Etienne in that category. I'd put Tyson Campbell, maybe. Aluakon. Fair point on the tip ball. What else we got for you guys? Oh, this is how you attack the Texans. Remember how I said that the Texans want to attack you inside the numbers? Look at what some teams have done to the Texans outside the numbers, okay? Outside the numbers. This is the Bears and Caleb Williams. I love this personnel. I wish we would run this more, the 2-back personnel. Why not? You have Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. Why are we not in 2-back personnel more? But whatever. I'm not the coach. Outside the numbers. And again, I clip like 1 or 2 or 3 plays as a microcosm as what I've saw works against them. So I could have clipped 15 of these, but we don't have time for 15 plays. So I'm just telling you, this is 3rd and long. Okay. 3rd and long, and the Bears run the corner out or the corner route. 1st down. Okay. Bears again. Outside the numbers. 1st down. Bears again. Outside the numbers. Almost a 1st down. So I'm telling you, if we can complete these passes to the outside, I think we're solid. All right, let me get my audio fixed here because I think my audio is coming through my headphones, and we don't want my audio coming through my headphones because we have a special guest coming in, the one, the only, Travis Holmes. Travis, how's it going?
I mean, I didn't think I was that special, but thank you.
You are that special. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You are that special.
The only person that called me special is my mama, bro.
Your mama
I
and
appreciate
Jags
it.
United, the 2 people that love you.
There we go.
All right, the 2 people that love you.
There we go. I'm doing
Maybe
good,
your
bro.
wife. Maybe.
Sometimes you catch me on the right day.
So Travis, before we get into Jag stuff, how are things going with you? How's life? How's the hurricane?
good.
Did it affect you? Everything good?
Man, I'm good. Not at all. Like I'm. I mean, for those who don't know, like I adjust claims also around the state. So that's my other. That's my. I can't even say other job. That's my main income driven. Income driver. And I like cutting trees and helping people out of like rough situations, and that's always good. So this is my in season. This is my Super Bowl, I guess we'll call it. Is when these hurricanes happen, I get to clean up, help people out, and stuff like that.
So I was under the impression, just falsely, because I didn't know, that you were like part of an insurance company that went and just like adjusted claims and gave like reports and things like that. But you're actually boots on the ground doing things.
I do both. Yeah, I'm on the cat team, catastrophe team. So for that purpose, I do both. Most of the year, I'm just doing the claim to get to sit at home, hang out, make my own schedule, drink lemonade, do my own thing, and then when something bad happens, let's go. Like I spend Hurricane Katrina, spend a weekend in the Gulf, helping them, clean up there. Whatever the last big one was, also in the Panama, we spent like a week there helping them clean up, like just whenever it happens, mudslide, whatever it is, Louisiana, let me going. Let's go.
So this is your busy season.
For the main job, yes, but for football, it's always busy. Honestly, the football, my busiest time is the off season, which is weird, but it is.
Are you aware that there's another hurricane out there?
Yeah, Yeah, it's always another hurricane out there.
I mean,
Man.
but there's one that's like forming and like kind of looking like the same trajectory as this last one.
Yeah, that kind of is what it is. I'm not very happy about this, but it didn't impact me. This last one didn't impact me very much, and I'm hoping that continues. I also don't want it to impact the people that just got impacted by something else. Like that's kind of effed up too. So obviously praying that it just misses us all, but we'll see what happens.
I personally live like a quarter mile from the beach. So the
Nice.
ones that come through the East Coast and like head right toward Jacksonville, those are the ones that scare me. And people that are like, oh, I love hurricanes, the days off work, hurricane parties. I live a little too close to the beach to be excited about those ones that come straight barreling toward us like
Yeah.
Matthew did or anything like that. So
I mean, you took the risk of having a great, awesome place to live like most of the year, and ever so often you might die. Like that's the give and take.
you gotta live life on the edge. You know what I mean? You gotta live life on the edge. All right, so Travis, let's talk some Jags.
All right, man.
We're coming up on the Texans. We talked on Club Jaguar. You were pretty doom and gloom, and I kept it pretty positive. Did I do any work convincing you? And as you let it marinate and digest the last 2 days, has your tune changed at all after hearing me give my debate, my opening presentation? Has anything changed in you about maybe the foreseeable future of the Jags?
No, but I did think that Houston could be bad enough that it'd give us an opportunity to win the game. I did believe that. Like, as much as people believe that Houston's this great, great, incredible team, I don't necessarily know that I believe that. I think that they are absolutely, they have some moderately good problems that I think the Jaguars could take advantage of and actually end up winning a game. And I think I kind of hinted at the end of the Club Jaguar, show that I thought, like, I'm like, wait, actually, now I'm taking a closer look at this. I don't know. And then after watching a day of one of their games, the game against the first game, week one against the Colts, I believe.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, every time they pressure him, this is a problem. Okay, cool. And as you mentioned earlier, every time they get their hands up, this is a problem. I mean, even if you're talking against the Vikings, both interceptions came when they pressured him. One came up a tip pass. I'm like, okay, this is a problem that CJ didn't see last year very much of. And I can see where this could be won just on the hands of Brian Nielsen. Like, something as simple as that. I'm not going to say, to your original point, I'm not all doom and gloom as I was earlier in the week because,
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. All the things you just said, I agree with. But you did mention earlier when we were talking on Club Jaguar that you felt like Ryan Nielsen's game plan wasn't necessarily bad. You just felt like he didn't have the dogs to do it. Do you think Ryan Nielsen has the dogs to be able to do what he needs to do to pressure Stroud and to create those turnovers?
That's the question. I mean, dang, like, have we I would like to believe yes. I would like to believe that if he's actually going to allow them to truly rush and not play passive, not play reactive, as he's played in these past 2 weeks, where he's just been a little more cagey with the rush, a little bit more contained with the rush, a little bit softer, trying to make sure Watson couldn't run the RPO game. Or in this last week, honestly, still make sure that Josh Allen couldn't run the RPO game or just run the ball around the edges, not letting Josh Allen, not letting Trevon Walker just truly let go and be loose. If he just allows them to rush and just take those hits when they come and just let CJ Stroud rush when if it has to happen, it has to happen. Basically, if he just play his normal defense, and be aggressive and if mistakes happen, they happen. I think we might be in a better situation than allowing teams to just nickel and dime us down the field. And I'm hoping that Ryan Nielsen kind of learned that lesson over these past 2 weeks because, I mean, we didn't give up a lot of points to Cleveland, but we gave up enough to lose the game. I mean, the offense sucked, let's be clear. But he has to know he has to expect the offense to suck until they don't right now. How do you win a game? If you have an offense that sucks, I mean, you were just the defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. You know what this is. If you want to win the game, you got to be aggressive and you got to make the offense turn the ball over, which means you can't be all reactive and playing contained. You got to just let these dogs go. And I think we might have the dogs to do it, but I think Nielsen's going to have to adjust a little bit and just be his normal self.
Can I tell you my big worry? And you can tell me if this is warranted or not.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that these corners that we brought in to run Ryan Nielsen's man coverage defense aren't good enough. And I know Tyson Campbell's not playing. That's obviously a huge hit. With Savage not playing the previous few weeks, I don't know what his status is this week, but it
looks like he's in.
Looks like he's all right.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that that Nielsen could turn on the film the same way that I did, found all the weaknesses in the Texans offense. Tunsil is having problems with the snap count. He's had a bunch of false starts. Not having Joe Mixon is massive for I don't know what his status is. I think it's questionable. But obviously Cam Akers and DJ Uiagalelongwe aren't the same level. What I worry about is these defensive backs being able to cover the trifecta of Diggs, Collins, and Dell. And
Dell is now out.
He's not out. He's questionable, isn't he?
No, he's out.
He's out. You're right.
Yeah, that helps.
That does help. That does help. Do they still have who was the kid from was it Alabama?
So backup guys, we got like
Mechie.
Robert
They
Woods.
still have John Mechie.
Yeah, Mechie, but he's like the third or fourth guy at this point. Like they got Robert Woods from the old Rams guy, so now he's like the backup to Nico Collins and maybe even Tank Dell.
I was big on Mechie coming out of college.
Oh yeah, He was dope, but what happened to him? It was
He had like
something
a
out of the
blown
combine.
ACL or a broken.
Yeah.
He had something in like the championship game.
Oh, see, I thought that was the guy who had the heart thing or whatever it was,
It
and it
could
was
have
like
been. It was
something weird
something
in
like
early
huge,
in
like
camp.
yeah, it was something huge that like really derailed his draft stock and all
Someone
that.
says he had cancer. Lord, I hope that's not right.
Oh, geez. We do have Billy Mob. Do you see a dog in Trevor?
Oh,
I actually didn't
that's
mean to click on that
messy.
comment. I meant to click on this one. Travis is into house, but since I accidentally clicked on this one, let's just go for it.
That's so messy. Oh, do you see a dog in Trevor?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think. I
I
mean,
could find a dog in anybody. Like, but that's like asking me, do I see a dog in Jay Cutler? The obvious answer is no, but you can say he has traits of dog. I don't know. Like,
I think there's a
a
dog in
dog?
Jay Cutler. I think there's a dog in Cam Robinson. To be
I
honest,
know 5 people that played with Jay Cutler at different times throughout his career, and I don't think anybody would ever agree that Jay Cutler had any sense of dog in him.
bro, Jay Cutler was lowering his shoulder on quarterback scrambles. He wasn't going out of bounds. That's a
Sure.
dog through and through right there.
Sure.
That's what you want, okay?
Nah. He's not a guy who's gonna lead your offense. He's not a guy who's gonna actually talk to guys and like actually get them up and make them want to play for you. He's just a guy who's gonna show up and maybe do the work, but that's what you want for a linebacker. That's not what you want for a quarterback. And that's a major difference overall. That's kind of where I'm at with the Jay conversation. So when you ask us, hey, does Trevor have dog in him? And I'm like, I wish he had a little more. How about that? Is that better?
That's
I wish he
better.
had a little more.
That's better.
I don't know if he has it or if he don't have it, but what he has, I wish it was just a little bit more. How about that?
That's fair. That's fair. Let me see if I have any more clips here while I got you, and we're still under an hour. Because I mean, I don't know. I mean, we get more viewers as this show goes on for some weird reason, but
They know you were on. They realize they missed the start, and
I think you're right. You're right. Here's something that was like, again, like this happens obviously to the Jags. It happens to every team, but I think it's something we can kind of look at here is because I think that you might be able to get this out of Brian Thomas Jr. And like, I'll be more specific. I think this is what Brian Thomas Jr. is best at. And they were able to exploit this on the Texans defense. I can't remember if he stems out or stems in, but essentially he gets behind this defensive back. Anthony Richardson just straight up misses the throw. Watch this.
he does that a lot. Whew.
I mean, that's got Brian Thomas Jr. written all over it, doesn't it?
Absolutely, but no one else will throw it to Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis would be back here, being triple covered, and Trevor would be looking him down like, "Oh, this is my only read on this play," and he'd throw it to him.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm still a little negative, but not as much. This is all jokes.
But
No,
I'm
but
telling
you're
you,
right. You're right. Schematically, yeah, that could absolutely work. And who was that corner? I know it's not Stingley, is it?
I didn't notice Stingley at all.
Really? See, everybody from the Texans that I keep talking to keeps telling me that he's having a great season, and I'm just like, I don't notice him. I didn't notice much on the tape, but I mean, I guess whatever the advanced metrics or whatever else is all saying that he's has, a solid 3 weeks. I'm just, I gotta trust people on it, I guess.
I will say, even all 3 games were insanely boring. Like
Defensively?
yeah, no, like on both, like the Texans. I don't remember them being this like I'll take what you give me type offense last year. Like maybe they were. I wasn't paying attention, but like even clipping good offensive Texans plays, I was having trouble being like, oh, I'm gonna clip this because it was just like, I mean, the only good game they really had was against the Colts offensively.
Yeah.
But even in that game, it was just like staying ahead of the sticks and
Right.
mixing
The problem with the Texans this year is because the teams are playing a lot more too high than played against them last year, and that was a big problem for them. Because again, it's been an issue because the people and the fans that I've talked to and like for the Texans, like I hop into Texans spaces just to hear what they're talking about basically, and a lot of them are frustrated right now with Bobby Slovic because
Yeah,
they're
I did see
saying that he doesn't have a counter punch now that people have had a whole off season of seeing what they do well, and teams are starting to play a lot more too high safety looks against them, and it's forcing the Texans to be a little bit more of a lower A dot, a lower nickel and dime check down, check down, check down team, and he doesn't seem to have a counter punch of what to do to attack those defenses, and they can't really run the ball as good against those too high sets.
Well, one of my opening points at the beginning of the show was that Joe Mixon is a game changer for this Texans offense, and I think that gets to the root of it.
That's it.
I mean, I talked about how Cam Akers had like 2.3 yards per carry against the Vikings.
That's it.
So
That's
if you
it.
can, that's why I said if you can stop the run, but the thing is, the elephant in the room, Ryan Nielsen doesn't play too high safety. So
Well, he does. He does. No, that's just it. He hasn't played it a lot this year outside of the first half of the Miami game. But he does because it's actually one of his main looks. It's just we haven't seen much of it because against Cleveland, we knew they were going to run the ball. They weren't going to attack us passing the ball. I mean, they were literally comfortable getting 3 yards a pop. So we didn't have a choice but to put an extra man in the box. But the first half against Miami, we were playing more too high looks. So as far as more cover 4. I mean, hell, we had 2 busted coverages in cover 2 because, Antonio Johnson and Cisco's busts were in cover 2 or 2 high looks. So we do play it because about 50% of snaps for Ryan Nielsen's defense historically have been those 2 high safety situations. So we could see a lot of it this week. This might be one of the first times we may actually get a lot of it, now that we have Savage back. That's the hope.
Well, I think Shay's comment, I saw it earlier and I was saving it, but this kind of goes to what we're talking about. Is Stroud going to have a sophomore slump? Or is he going to join the MVP race by the end of the year, given the low quarterback numbers this year?
Ooh, technically it could be both. Both things could be true. I mean, because a lot of the quarterbacks are slumping right now, right?
Well, I think when he says sophomore slump, what he means is not have a good year.
I predicted that Stroud was going to have a sophomore slump literally all offseason. I've been saying it all offseason because even his turnover-worthy throws last year were a lot higher. Like, it wasn't to say it was going to be a bad year for him, but I believe it, and I'm doing it off memory, but I believe it was somewhere like an 8 to 9 interceptions should have been thrown last season. And whether the defense dropped them, whether, like you were saying earlier, he was bailed out by penalties that whatever. There was he had a lot more turnover-worthy throws that he just got bailed out basically last season. And when how that goes year by year, that bounces back. So I believe he was going to have a worse year just based on that. And then you count the fact that defensive coordinators watch tape in the offseason. They're going to make it harder on him, and they're playing a first-place schedule. He's going to be a harder season. So I do think he'll have a sophomore slump. He still may be a good quarterback, but it's not going to be what it was last year. I don't believe that.
I think this is my last couple plays. Oh, I got 3 more plays. I'm gonna play them through here since we're almost under an hour. I like to get all my plays in under an hour, and then let the comments. I don't know why. There's really no strategy behind it.
No, that's good though.
I don't know.
Some people want to be here for the film. They get that, knock that out of the way, then you can just hang out and just vibe.
Exactly. All right, so I got a couple plays here. I don't even know. I labeled this Nico Collins catch, and I don't even know why. But here we go. We're gonna remember what it is together here, Travis. Okay, so I brought this up because my point was that you got to keep the Texans. I don't know if you were here, but my keys to success was keeping the Texans on the inside of the numbers. Yeah. That's where obviously when you go cover 2, that's where you want to hit anyways. But that's where they had the most success the last 3 games. This was the one play that I saw them hit outside of the numbers. That's why I clipped it. This was just a good corner route. That's a great. If you do catch someone in a 1 high like they do here, you put Nico Collins in pre-snap motion. It's hard to defend right there.
That looks very similar to the route that Tyreek Hill ran against against Darnell Savage and Antonio Johnson.
Yep, you're right.
In week 1. So yeah, that's a very good throw. He also had multiple bad throws against goodness gracious, week 1. He had multiple bad throws outside of the hashes because I was on when you said that earlier. To the point where since I wasn't on, I started watching NFL Pro and just looking at all the blitz packages of C.J. Stroud in Week 1, and I'm just like, oh no, he did struggle a little bit outside of the numbers. Okay, cool. I see what you're putting down.
Yeah, telling you, But like, can you even? I mean,
can you do it? Do you have the dogs to do it?
Do you have the dogs to do it? Like, you can line up Monteric Brown inside leverage all day, and I watched Keon Coleman beat him across the middle of the field. So I can't get over that play. I just cannot get over that play. That's Keon Coleman, and he ran a great route, and he looked really fast on that play. But at the end of the day, it's Keon Coleman. You're lined up inside leverage, and you let this guy go completely across the middle of the field and beat you for a touchdown.
Only target of the game. Yeah, it was in my heart too. It hurt me. It hurt me a little bit because again, I vouched for this guy. I vouched for you, man. I put my name on the line. Yeah, I know.
Here's another one. This is the Texans' 4th down play. I'm pretty sure I remember what this is, and I have a feeling that we're gonna have a hard time stopping this play.
Oh, okay. And FYI, I love their defense.
What's his name?
I love Flores. Defense. Brian Flores.
Flores, dude.
The stuff that he's been doing back there is just ridiculous. Damn ridiculous. It really is. Cover 2 with the safeties playing corner. Just messes it up. It's so awesome.
This wasn't the play I was thinking of, but I mean, I had a play that I watched where they ran like a play action and threw it out to like the fullback, and it was like the Jags are not gonna be able to cover that. And he ran for it, but still, like,
I mean, my fear right now is that because they put it on tape at this current moment in time, is that the Jaguars defense is going to see a lot more of that motion, that arc motion that we just saw.
Yeah.
The whole first half against Buffalo. Because teams are not, it's a copycat league. One team does something well, they're going to keep doing it until you show you can beat it. And they know Ryan's going to want to play man coverage, and he's going to have to figure out a way to beat that. And I'm sure they practiced it up. But they're going to force them to. Texans will run that at least once or twice, if not in the first quarter of this game, just to make sure the Jaguars have actually corrected their issues. And if they haven't, they're going to get 10 yards a pop, 3 yards. So that is my biggest concern right now.
Can we talk for a second about Kevin O'Connell's athleticism here?
Kevin O'Connell's athleticism.
Bam. Nope, not getting me. That's the head coach with lateral movement right there, Travis. Travis, did you ever have that type of lateral movement as a player?
I mean, yeah, just I haven't had it since then. I left that in college, bro. I mean, you might still have it. You out there doing chest and CrossFit and all this other stuff.
I remember one time I was coaching like a high school game, and I was on the sidelines, and the play came barreling toward me, like happens, and like I just hurdled 2 guys, landed on my feet, and just walked away, like out of instinct. And then we went to the film room. They went back and played it like 6 times. Like, look at Coach Trent with the athleticism. I like hurdled 2 guys like barreling toward me. That's why that play stood out to me. I was like, I've been there. Because you're on the sidelines. If you're close to the action, you never know.
He's like, yeah, still got it. Yeah, still got it. I got you.
All right, here's one thing I want to ask you. Why don't the Jags, Doug Peterson, known for the Philly special, with a stagnant offense for the last 3 weeks, why have we not seen a play like this out of Doug? Like, he's known for the trick plays. He's known for the fake punts and 4th downs and onside kicks and all that. We haven't seen one wrinkle. We haven't seen one wrinkle this year.
So this is one that I would have to say it's a theory. I have a theory.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it's real or if it's just in my head. But normally when you see these kind of plays from Doug or Press, whoever you want to say is calling the dang plays, it's in those high pressure 3rd down, 4th down situations, 2nd and goal, 3rd and goal, a lot like Kansas City actually. They normally run those situations down in the red zone. 5 yards, I need 10 yards to score. And it feels like they normally would run them when they think they're driving. The Jaguars we haven't really had very much success just moving the ball, just getting down to the red zone, getting down to those money down situations where you feel like you have an extra down to do one of these things on. Like, and that's maybe, it feels tight. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Like,
That's kind of my point.
it just feels tight. And because of that, I can't risk doing one of these plays and it don't work, because then it's like, it's a bad call versus, hey, at least I ran a regular play and it didn't work. Then at least it's just the players lost it or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, we saw last year Christian Kirk had a throw. I think they ran it like one time. Like,
Yeah. No,
I get it.
Yeah. When he almost put Travis Etienne in the hospital.
yes.
Yeah, that one.
Like, I get it. But, like, in that Bills game, when you have no offensive momentum at all, zero offensive momentum, the defense isn't doing anything. You need, like, a spark plug. That's the perfect time to run something like this. And we're going into week 4, and we've seen nothing but vanilla calls for 3 weeks.
Well, would I could counter you, and I'm not saying I do believe this, but it's just like it's in my head, honestly.
Sure, yeah.
Is that desperate?
I don't think it's desperate.
Is there a possibility that it would come across in game when you're getting beat, I don't know, by 10 points, by 17 points, whatever, like from your player's perspective? I'm just wondering, like, hey, does that come across as desperate?
I think it could be desperate and it still work. Like the play we just saw, the Texans offense couldn't get, and they were actually like moving the ball decently. It was penalties, it was the 2 interceptions, it was the not being like, they would get to like the 50 or the opponent's 40 and then they would just fall apart. But they were desperate here, and Slowick runs a trick play. So like, it can still be desperate and still be served the purpose you need it to serve.
Right. So as long as it works. If it don't work, then it just comes across as you are desperate and you have no answers.
But it doesn't. But let's say you run it and it doesn't work. The only thing worse is what you did against the Bills.
It's still not having any answers.
The only thing worse than a trick play not working is not a trick play and it not working. You know what I mean? So it's like, that seems, I mean, and maybe he was saving it. Maybe maybe you're right. Maybe he's saving it for a crunch time, need to have it type situation.
But you're right. But scared money don't make money.
Thank you.
And we have generally not seen Doug be Mr. Scared Money, but it does feel that way at this current moment in time. Because honestly, when Doug got hired, I said I did not like some of the things that he did, because that first season I watched a lot of like his film from in Philly, and I'm like, dang it, people remember him for the Philly special, but nobody remembers him for all these Philly special type plays that were ran and failed. And he ran a lot of them, like on 4th downs and goalless situations and everything else. They remember the Philly special because it worked. If Philly special did not work, they would be like, this is that Joker who just runs this crazy stuff at these weird times and it's whatever.
But what if though? What if the reason why the Philly special worked was because of all of the failed attempts in the regular season?
He was molded into this. All right, cool.
Travis, my mind does not think normal. All right, I'm telling you right now, my mind does not think like a normal person. All right, so there is that timeline where the Philly special worked only because of the failed trick plays in the regular season.
Okay, I can get down with that.
Yeah.
But so you still got to fail to succeed later. All right, cool.
Exactly.
So the only reason that the Chargers game happened with Travis Etienne still in the game is because we are going to have these future failed runs around the corner in 2024, right? That's how that works.
Exactly.
Karma.
All right, so now I want to get into where we're going to go through a bunch of comments. So if we've had a bunch of comments we didn't hit because we were watching film. I do want to get some of these comments. I'm going to get Travis's opinions. We're going to kind of rapid fire them as much as we can, although we both know when Travis and me start talking, rapid fire just doesn't really happen. But that's okay.
Yeah,
we're going to do
your opinion. Don't toss it to me. I want to hear your opinions. This is come on.
Okay. So get in the comments. Give us your comments on the Jags, on the Texans. We're gonna fly through some of these comments. Okay, so get in there. We're gonna get our opinion on here. I'm gonna back up a bit, but get in here and just so that we can get your comments in. Brenneman says, I wish Trevor showed more personality during his pressers. His, quote, "we suck right now," end quote, comment was the most he's shown in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's good, I think. I don't know what to do with it, but it's good.
Do you worry that Trevor doesn't love football?
No.
Do you worry that football is not the most important thing to Trevor?
I know other people do. I do not. This is the new NFL, and when players, may be retiring around 30 years old, and you've seen it by a lot of players, like it happened to a lot of players, even some greats. I'm fine with that. Like if football's everything, that's also it can be good, it can be bad, and I don't judge people if it's not your everything because you found better things in life. Cool, man. Like,
but when you look at guys like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, football is everything.
Yes.
And then you compare it to a guy like Trevor who came into, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I agree with you, but I'm going to play devil's advocate because there is this like dissent opinion about this. Trevor Lawrence came in rookie year and was like, football is not the most important thing to me. He even said that. He said family, faith, both ahead of football, which great.
Yeah.
But do you worry that's going to limit him in ways that it didn't limit guys like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning?
That's hard, man. I don't know. I can honestly say I don't know. I would like to say I don't believe that that's what's going to be the thing that make it and break it. But in reality, in real life, I could absolutely see how that could be the thing. That's that difference between an all-pro athlete and maybe just a Pro Bowl athlete. Like that like legitimately, if I'm being real about it, could be the difference because sometimes just that failure is what pushes you to drive the whole offseason just disregarding family like Aaron Rodgers or having no friends, not even having a dog at home or whatever, just burning through girlfriends just to make sure I'm going to be great on this playbook and on the X's and O's and all this other stuff. Makes for a sad individual, maybe even a sad life, but then you'll end up having this great career. But what do you want? Do you care about the guy or do you care about the athlete? Sometimes you can't have both, and that's the stress for fans.
I feel like most fans would rather have the athlete, but I think
I know.
I think people like you and me who care about people see the other side.
Yeah,
for
man.
Sure. Railman CT says no one knows who's calling the plays, so that play will never be called. We've talked about this. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Just want to make sure we both agree on this. It doesn't matter who's calling plays between Doug and Press. They're not going to be that different.
Yep.
They're not. Like literally, like it wouldn't matter from game to game who was calling plays. The plays are going to look exactly the same. So
right, people keep talking about fire Press. I'm like, for what? What's this off?
Right, and like I'm actually like okay with Doug never firing Press because I so wholeheartedly believe the play calling would be exactly the same. It would be exactly the same. It really would. Yeah. And like people don't want to believe that because they want a scapegoat, but like it'd be exactly the same. It really would. This is a repeat in case you missed it. Here's the question that I asked myself. Maybe you can talk me down on this. Is anybody on this team bought in?
Is anybody on the team bought in? I believe the players. I do believe that the players have bought in. I can't say all the players because I don't believe that that's true. And I think the film will support that that's not true for at least a few players. But it is what it is. But overall, as far as the plan is concerned, I think the players are bought in. I don't know that the coaches are in a good enough spot to be able to truly express what bought in looks like. And that sucks to say. Like, again, some teams just have great identities. You know exactly who they are. You know exactly what to expect going into the game. I can't say that for Jacksonville this year, and I don't think I can say that under any individual year under Doug Peterson. I don't know that they've ever truly had an identity that you go into the game and say, this is what they're going to do, and you need to be prepared to stop this one thing that they do just so well. Other than just put it on Trevor's back and hopefully he can win you the game at the end. That's basically it. That's not much of an identity.
I think my answer is different, but it's the same.
Okay.
When you like, I don't think players in the NFL need to particularly buy in. Their buy-in is their contract. If we're talking pre-NIL college football, different story. Completely different story. You got to buy into Nick Saban's defense. You got to buy into Urban Meyer's offense. You got to buy into Ryan Day's offense. Like, that's different. When these guys are playing to support their family, I don't think they necessarily need to be, quote, bought in. I do think you're right, Travis. The coaches need to kind of establish an identity for what their performance looks like. I don't think I mean, you get these rare guys at the end of their career every now and then that take the paycheck to just walk off into the sunset. But for 99% of the players, they're playing for their current contract and their next contract. So they're going to play 100% no matter what.
Right.
I don't think you need a player bought in. I think you need the coaches to just outline what their 100% needs to look like. And it's either that, or they just don't have the skill set to do what the coaches need them to do.
And I do believe that they have the skill set. I don't believe that they have either the confidence in what they're being asked to do, the confidence in following the scheme, or the confidence that what they've been taught within the scheme is actually going to work. So, and that's what results in, well, let me give you examples. If you have a quarterback who I know this is what the scheme is drawn up to be, and I know this is what they're telling me to do, but I don't believe it's going to work. Maybe I'm not going to go through my progressions because I don't believe that this is going to be there on this third. I don't think I'm going to have the time to get to this third read. Or maybe if I'm running a defense and I know I'm supposed to have inside leverage, but at the last second, because they have this tight split, I'm just going to hop outside and make a judgment decision because I don't believe what they've taught me to do. They've taught me the things. I just don't believe in the scheme. That's in that way, it's a bought in. It's not necessarily an effort thing at that point. It's just more of a, do I have confidence in you, the person who taught me this, that this is going to work out the way you taught me?
I think when you look at guys like let's just look at the 4 DBs that were in the Bills game. You got like Monteric Brown, Andre Sisco, Antonio Johnson, and Ronald Darby. Jerry Jones pre-injury. I don't think those guys, I think they're bought in. I think they're 100% playing. I don't think they're good enough. And they're amazing athletes. They are absolutely amazing athletes. And I think they are, obviously they made it the NFL and they're amazing. They are amazing at what they do.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're good enough to, even if they were bought in to what Nielsen was saying, to do the job they're supposed to do. And I think that's the biggest issue, is the Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and O's.
I would agree as far as defense was concerned in that individual game. And there are still situations in that individual game that I'm just like, oh no. So every play is going to be different. You can look at the play and be like, all right, this failed because of scheme. This failed because of communication on the field. This failed because the guy wasn't fast enough, wasn't strong enough, whatever. There is like, so different plays there are some times where it's like, oh no, that is more of a trust thing. So when Robert asked that question, it's like, oh no, I get what you mean though. Did the guys trust the scheme? Is that why they failed in their communication on the field? It's because they were trying to figure out what to check to, and all of a sudden the ball snapped because they didn't. That's not. It says buy-in, but in reality, it's just saying half of what's going to happen on the football field is going to be communication because of. That's the way they work. Like, and I think Doug said something very similar on Wednesday. He's like, hey, it's communication on the field, and there's communication from the sidelines to the quarterback, or from the sidelines to the linebacker. Was this an issue? Was communication on the field? All right, cool. That's 50% of the game, is just the guys in the secondary talking to each other, the linebackers talking to each other, and trying to get on the same page. And you can't really blame the coaches for that. That really is the player-to-player conversation. Do they believe in the scheme? Whew. That's a rough question, because if you were to ask individual players, they'll probably tell you yes. And if you ask these same individual players on the side, maybe off the record, and they'll be like, I wish we'd have called something different, or I wish we'd have did this, and maybe that's why I overplayed this a little bit much, because I didn't think it was going to be there, or whatever. That's just, we're all human, and that's kind of how that kind of goes.
Yeah, I mean, you make good points there. I know this is, and Robert did say, Travis, that's what he meant by buy-in here. And I always come back to it's Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. I always come back to that, because I've worked.
Great player.
you two, like we've worked and played and under enough coaches to where it's different, but it's all kind of the same. It's like your
Yeah.
job is still, if you're a left tackle, you have a handful of jobs. If you're a boundary corner, you have a handful of jobs. If you're
Yeah.
a free safety, you have a handful of jobs. If you're a fullback, you have a handful of jobs. Regardless of what scheme you're in and where you're at, it ultimately does come down to, and there's guys like, you look at Shanahan out in San Fran. You look at guys like Andy Reid. But look at a guy like Mike McDaniel. We were all ordaining him as the greatest play caller of all time. You throw in Skylar Thompson, and now he looks like a pedestrian. So I think for me,
that's different. Man, that's so different. Can I just touch on that?
before you answered, as you're answering, answer this. Does the offense look the same with Skylar Thompson as it does with Tua?
There's levels to this, and I think you know this. There are some serious levels to this. Like, I'm not saying, because that offense could look so much better if you had someone like a Trevor Lawrence in that same Miami Dolphins offense. Because I do believe he's just way more skilled and just better than Tua, personally. And there will be a downgrade with Tua, and then there will be a downgrade if you put, I don't know, Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins or somebody else in that same offense. And then there'll be, like, the Skyler is so much lower than all those guys where it's just not even comparable. That's kind of messed up, and that's what I mean. Like, that was a bad plan on their
People
part
would have
for
said the
having
same
that guy
thing.
back up.
People would have said the same thing about Sam Darnold. People would have said the same thing about Malik Willis. People would have said the same thing. A lot of these guys that can step in that are, and I get it, and you're making my point. It's Jimmy's and Joe's, but
Different skills, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the reality of the situation is, for me, is it's like you plug in a team of Pro Bowlers into any NFL head coach. Take the worst NFL head coach that's out there right now on the hot seat. Plug in a team of Pro Bowlers, their offense works. And
I had this conversation. I won't even call it. It's sort of an argument, but we'll call it a conversation with one of the former Jaguar special team coordinators at his house, and we were talking about. I'm like, no. A great player can make a terrible play call, can make a terrible scheme look incredible. And a terrible player can make the perfect play call just look horrendous. Like, sometimes it does just truly come down to that. But you might have what happens when you have an average player, just a robot, just someone who's going to run the scheme exactly what is. That's the quality of an exceptional coach. Like, it's basically when you have those guys who are just fives. You have a team full of fives. That's the coach that can give you 10 wins. Then that's a great coach. I don't know that we necessarily have that right now. Is the question, though.
Okay.
That's been the talk around Jacksonville.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair point. That's a fair point, because my argument is that it's Jimmy's and Joe's. What happens if you have an average Jimmy and Joe? Can this coaching staff elevate that average player?
Yeah. Otherwise, you just here. Otherwise, we all just here wasting time for the next coach.
Good point. Good point. What job they were drafted and Nielsen was hired? It's a good point. But they did cut a guy like Braswell and then promoted a guy like Monteric Brown to the starter on an injury. So you're right, though. That's a fair point. Jags identity, the same old Jags.
Because Jaguars,
Yeah. Sean Reyes, why is defensive line so underwhelming? I was telling people Saxon will be back this year. Looks like I was wrong. I think we've kind of already talked about that, but if you want to put it in a nutshell, Travis, put it in a nutshell for him on why we haven't seen the D-line get the pressures and sacks like we did in the past.
Well, I give the edges passes. I don't give the interior D-line passes. I don't have an answer for that piece. I don't, to be clear. I don't know why Hamilton, Armstead, Mason, Ledbetter, etc. have not shown significant pressure right now. I don't have a good answer for that, because I did expect that to be a little.
Well,
bit
those
better.
guys you just answered, those guys you just mentioned, Armstead's coming off of an injury and is over 30. Mason Smith's not getting any snaps. Devon Hamilton's coming off of a massive injury last year, and Jared Ledbetter's not any good. So I think that answers your questions right there.
Well, we expected a step up from those four, at least 3, guys for interior pressure because we knew we had the edges who could probably get home when they let them get home. But we had questions on whether or not we were going to have internal pressure to not give them anywhere to step into, not give them a pocket to step into. And we just haven't seen that for those reasons. I don't have an answer as to what those reasons are.
I mean, maybe if our linebackers could cover a running back out of the backfield, we could put these offenses in a precarious situation where edge rushers could do something. But we have, according to Travis, we have a great linebacking core. So don't worry about that. We haven't seen it yet.
This up, bro? How many times you gonna bring this up? I said it for 1 week, and that does not qualify the whole season. Man, I'm never gonna be able to live that down.
You better be careful you put on Twitter, Travis. You better be careful. You know I'm reading it.
I'm saying at this time, this player has played well. I'm gonna have to start putting like I don't know, the little asterisks next to everything. At this moment in time, he has played well. This does not qualify for tomorrow. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Moon Illusions, what do you think are the key make or break matchups on Sunday?
All right, you go.
All right, I think I kind of talked about in the beginning of the show. I think we have to stop the run. That's number one priority. Stop the run. Do not let them get ahead of the sticks. You could probably say that with any game and any team, but I think specifically with this Texans team, who is missing a receiver, potentially missing Joe Mixon. If he plays, he's going to be banged up. I think you got to get them behind the sticks. I think you got to take away the middle of the field on the passing game. And I think on offense, you have to throw to the ball outside the numbers, and you have to, establish the run. You could, again, say any week at any time. But if you can do that, I think that's the key.
Yeah. Well, I can get down with a lot of that. It's interesting that you said you got to throw the ball outside of the numbers on offense, and you're talking about that being the Jaguars' offense, correct?
Talking about what teams have had in the first 3 weeks have had success against the Texans defense.
Right. I understand. And what I would probably argue is that the Jaguars need to do more throwing between the hashes, and we've needed to do that forever. But this is the first season I can effectively say I've seen a significant increase in the amount of times that they're throwing between the hashes. To the point where I was excited early in this preseason because you're at camp, you can't really talk about the plays that they're running. Well, in the media, you can't really report on those specific plays that they're running, but let's just say they were running a lot up the seams, a lot between the hashes, and then all of a sudden we get into the season and we just don't see it very much. And the few times we see it is an interception that's an overthrow from Trevor. I think they need to continue doing that, though, honestly. I do, because even on the Trevor interception, it's wide the heck open.
Does the prominence of the cover 2 give you a little hesitation on the seam routes, though?
Yes and no, because Trevor was a dog at throwing it over that whole player in those cover 2 coverages. He even did it with Christian Kirk on the seam route, or like the 30-yard seam route in week 1. He did it in camp to the seam route to Evan Ingram that was over the middle linebacker for Tampa Bay. I forget his name, David.
Levante David, yeah.
Yeah. We've seen a few of these where Trevor's just picking that cover 2 apart, and I think he has the arm to do it. Obviously, we won't have Evan Ingram, so that kind of does change the ball game just a little bit. Brendan Strange versus Ingram is a little bit different, but nevertheless, yeah, I think overall we could still attack those seams. It's the question of the hour is whether or not they have the appetite to do it, or whether or not they think Trevor's going to throw those interceptions like what happened on Monday. But nevertheless, I do believe that they can eat in between those seams, and since that's who they seem to want to be in 2024, cool, lean into it. Do it more than that 1 to 2 times a game, and just actually lean into it and make that your play action dig, play action dig, play action post, and kind of go off that. Which include balls running the ball. They got to run the ball. And I'm going to say this, and don't get mad at me, Duval. I'm sorry. Give Tank Bigsby more rushes. And I need to see Tank Bigsby have the same amount of rushes as Travis Etienne.
Etienne had 7 yards of carry last week.
Cool. That's great. But he also has 7 yards of carry in a game where we were still running the ball super late. He got multiple 10-plus yard carries late in the game on the blowout. I don't count those garbage yards. This is that Blake Bortles, the old Jaguars. We're in a new day. So I'm not giving credit to that Ness, but I'm saying like early in the game, if you want to control the game, you want to control the clock. If you have struggle, I said this on Wednesday's Do or Dive. If you have struggles figuring out who your identity is, cool. It seems obvious the coaching staff is figuring out a scheme and they're trying to work some things out. Still an identity from somebody else. The Detroit Lions have already done the hard work and worked it out for you. Literally just take their playbook and take their identity and put it over here.
Well,
they have a running back in Montgomery. They have another running back in.
They also have a competent offensive line.
Yes, but I'm simply saying, like, we seem to have trouble figuring out how to use two running backs who have different styles. So we're just like, we got to give the ball all to Tank or we got to get the ball all to ETN. And I'm sitting there like, no, if you say you want to be a running team off play action, cool. Use Tank like they use Montgomery. Use ETN like they use Gibbs. And this don't seem very hard, but we don't want to throw the ball to ETN, even though we threw the ball to ETN a boatload in camp and a boatload in preseason. Y'all making it so much harder than it's got to be because it's not who you naturally are. It's who you want to be.
Are you saying they should potentially line up in some split back gun formations?
I'm saying you better give me.
Why don't we do that? I got two questions for you on formations. First of all, why do we never run split back gun formation when we have two running backs that seem to be pretty decent? The second question is, why the hell do we never go in empty formation? I get the offensive line's not good, but get the ball out quick. Like, what? We have a stable of wide receivers. Parker Washington's not even seeing the field. Why not go empty? Why not go empty? 3-step drop, get the ball out quick. Like, why are we not seeing these like stable formations that other teams are running? Split back gun, empty gun. Why are we not seeing that?
These are formations that the Jaguars used to run a lot, and a lot of teams run them because they make it very simple for the quarterback, give him easy reads. And I don't know why we're not running it, unless it's just because, again, it goes back to that whole we don't have an identity thing, that we're just trying, we're leaning under, we need to be under center, we have to be under center, so we're just going to do this, and we don't trust our O-line. I laughed when he wrote that. I laughed a second ago. I was just like, dang.
I'm always nice to Travis. I am literally always nice to Travis.
You're always nice to me sometimes.
Oh, listen, I know I come across as like aggressive because I yell. That's just my personality. But like, that's just my personality. But like, Travis knows and he will tell you, I am nice to him. Do I put him on the witness stand and put him through a barrage of questions?
I was about to say.
Yes. But if honestly, hear me out here. I think so highly of Travis. I wouldn't do that to anyone else. I would only do that to Travis because he can handle it and show off his intelligence. So if anything, I'm being nice to Travis by yelling at him and barraging him with questions. Is that a fair vantage point, Travis?
I'm going to let y'all know. After I got off the first Jaguars United pod that I was ever on, I went to my wife and like, this dude just interrogated me for like 2 hours. And it was weird, but she was like, why would he do that? I'm like, I know he was setting me up for the alley-oop, but I'm happy I passed because otherwise it was gonna be mad embarrassing. This is a real conversation that I had with my wife, and ever since then I'm used to it. I know exactly what it is, and it's dope. But I'm being real. If my knowledge bank wasn't where it needed to be, whoo boy, that would have been rough.
I wouldn't do it to you if your knowledge bank was. I would never expose you like that.
I got you.
You're right. I would never do. I don't do that to other people. Like, I'm on shows all the time. I don't do that. But
I know. But it was funny.
I genuinely want to get to the heart of the argument and the conversation. And we've talked about this off air. A lot of people can't handle those conversations. And to be frank, I don't really respect those people. But I respect the hell out of Travis. I know he can handle it. And additionally, I value his opinion. So do I set him up sometimes for a trap question later? Yes. I do. But I do know 100% of the time, Travis has handled it and he's given a fair response. And I'll even go a little further and say, I don't know if I've ever talked to anyone sports related who can make me question my opinion like Travis does. So it may seem like I'm being mean, Travis, but you know it's all love over here. And you know it. And
you know I'm here and I'm always smiling. And we always get talking about it after the fact. But it is funny though, because I didn't know what I was getting into at first. And then after I realized, I'm like, all right, cool. Now I got you. That's all it was. It was just like, it threw me off even because it was my first episode. But the second one, I mean, hell, my second and third episodes, you put me in a deposition, like I'm like
Exactly.
it felt like I was in a court case.
Exactly.
Like, all right,
Hey,
cool.
listen. I again, I'll just say it again. I only do that to people I respect. Okay, only to the people I respect. if I don't act this way towards you, you should be worried because that means I don't respect you. So we'll just put that out right there.
I'm gonna clip this and put this on my Twitter. Everybody else,
But, hey,
anytime
that's
he ever
fine.
has any
Listen,
other
I have no
guests.
pride. I have no pride or shame. It's a personality deficit I've been dealing with my entire life. All right.
I'm gonna play it every time you have another guest on and you being nice to him. I'm like, no, he don't like you, bro.
Timmy Devil says, "What's up? I've checked out."
Timmy Devil.
Be patient, dude. We could win. We could. I know it's a hypothetical. We could dominate Houston, and then what? You guys are all like, "Oh, bulky masterclass." That's all it would take. That's all it would take for everyone to go back to that. That's all it would take.
Just like that.
Just like that. Stoical snake says,
So,
should they run more shotgun?
I feel like they've countered. What do they call it when you do something so different? They've done a 180 so much from last season because they were forced to run so much shotgun that now they've seemed like they feel like they just have to go under center all the time. Like even you said earlier, why don't they run more empty sets? I don't know. That's a great question. Why don't they run more empty sets? They just seem to want to be. They're top 5 in the league in play action, which obviously you can't do in the empty sets. Obviously, you have to, for the most part, generally be under center in this offense because they don't want to run the wide zone off tackle. So, yeah, you're for the most part going to be under center.
To be fair, you could run the Tebow Dak Prescott fake quarterback power throw, and you could technically run a play action out of empty. Just saying.
Fake quarterback power.
You take a couple steps forward, then back up and throw. You could technically run it out of empty, but that's,
Who's nervous about your $275 million quarterback running a quarterback power fake?
It's a fake quarterback power. It's a play action quarterback
up
power.
On that. Man, I'm gonna tell Trevor up, man. Nah.
I've always said,
linebacker.
Listen, if I was a head coach, my backup quarterback would be like a Taysom Hill. It would be a guy who does that. I'd bring them in. That's what the Saints do, and it's genius. Yeah. You bring them in, you run the quarterback power, and then every once in a while, boop, boop, back up, and you throw. I mean, why? It's a guy on your depth chart. If you can have him as a legit backup quarterback and a guy who's a threat in your offense, I don't understand why more coaches don't do that. But
see, you just said it something that was just pinged my brain, man. Like the fact that the Saints they know so well how to win ugly. And I'm just thinking of the Jaguars win coming back, yes. But the Jaguars don't win ugly. I mean, obviously we haven't won anything this year, so we don't win at all.
I know what you mean, though. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, though.
Like, that's when the Saints do something like that. That's winning ugly. Like, and it don't matter if it's winning ugly or if it's winning great. Like, it's winning because the Ravens do that a lot, too. The Pittsburgh Steelers do that a lot, too. These guys just win ugly. Mm-hmm. And the Jaguars easily should be able to win ugly other than the fact that they just can't. It's such a weird thing, man.
You're right. I mean, that's spot on. I always joked if the Jags lose 2 more games, I'm switching this to Saints United, and I'm just going to start covering the Saints.
They're exciting.
What's up, Saints fans? Dennis Allen, Coach of the Year. Let's go. All right, couple more
another team, bro.
I can do both. All right, couple more comments. I'm gonna let Travis get out of here. I'm sweating. I don't know why. Probably because I yell. I don't know. Sean Reyes, do you think Doug and Balky stay at the Jags, go 9-8 again, and miss the playoffs?
I just had this conversation with someone earlier today.
How many conversations do you have, Travis? Good Lord. How many conversations can you reference?
I am in 9 group chats. If you look at my Twitter and my Instagram right now, I am in so many freaking group chats. And that's not even counting the individual messages I get from people, just random people asking me my thoughts on this. And can I quote you on this or whatever else? And yeah, so I got a comment just from a random Twitter user actually by the name of Travis earlier today. We just started kicking it back and forth. I'm like, I don't know this dude at all. I'm just like, he wanted to talk some Jaguars. I'm like, all right, cool.
That name, I wouldn't trust him, but go ahead.
As you shouldn't. But that was one of the questions. what's the line? What's the line that's just like, hey, you got to fire everybody? And I'm like 8 and 9, 8 and 9. If it's 8 and 9 or worse, you fire everybody. If it's 9 and 8, things get murky. If I'm talking to Shad Khan right now, if they go 9 and 8, that's when it gets a little muddy, because I can absolutely see a world where none of them are fired. I can see a world where just one of them, and you can flip a coin and which one is the one, because it's the mind of a billionaire at that point. I don't know. What do you think?
You think you think there's that big of a line between 8 and 9 wins?
Do I think there's that big of a line? No, but I think there's a big of a line on expectations, and Shad has already put out there publicly, this is the time that we win. This is the best team we've ever had. All the other stuff that he said that's mad embarrassing at this current moment in time.
He doesn't know.
Where he kind of has to. Well, where he kind of has to make that decision of
right.
F that.
If you're Shad Khan, let's reframe the question. If you're Shad Khan and Doug and Balky go 9 and 8 and miss the playoffs, what are you doing?
No, if they go 9 and 8 and miss the playoffs, I'm firing everybody. If they go 10, I almost said, all right, I'm gonna just say it. I don't care. I'm firing them anyways, personally.
Even if they go 9 and 8 and make the playoffs, you're firing them.
You can win 10 games. You better be, if you're not in the AFC Championship, I'm thinking I'm firing them. And I know that sounds crazy to me. I know that sounds crazy, but I've never believed in the plan in the first place. So I can objectively say, I'm a process person. I'm a process guy. I'm a scheme guy. And obviously we're tape watchers. So I'm looking at your scheme. I am not a believer in your scheme. So if you found a way to go up against some, I don't know, backup quarterbacks and rail together, put together some wins, that doesn't mean that she's going to be winning moving forward. If you found a way that you won off something that I just don't believe in, and right now I don't believe in the scheme, right now I don't believe in the GM, right now I don't believe in the process. What are we talking about? This is the Andy Reid situation all over again. You fire someone when they're winning because you don't believe in the process, and you try to find a better situation moving forward.
I agree 100% with that. The counter argument would be, to do that, you would have to have a lot of confidence. You could go out and hire someone that could be better. And
well, that's what confidence do you have in Shad Khan? And you're right to have that question on the docket.
Yeah.
I wish he would hire an EVP.
Old Schemy Travis is what they call him.
Old Schemy Travis.
They do call him Schemy Travis because he's always scheming. He's always scheming something. It's not football. It's always something.
What is it? ABS. Yes, always be scheming.
Did you have any nicknames growing up, Travis?
Yeah, man, a lot. They called me Professor when I was growing up. No joke. Because I used to always want to find out how stuff worked, and just that even on the football team, I'm that guy. I don't want to run a coverage until I understand why it works and how it works and all that kind of stuff. And in high school, I was Black and Mild. Everybody knew me as that. I mean, that was literally my email.
I wonder why.
Oh, actually, I don't smoke. Never smoked a day in my life.
Oh, okay.
I'm just I'm a very, very, very black person. If you can't tell, for you listening to the podcast, I am very black. Yeah.
Wait.
And
oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm light skinned in other countries, but yeah, I'm dark skinned here. And for a season of my life, after I took a year and a half of court mandated anger management, I then became very resistant to fighting. So that's that mild piece in certain season of life. And for those who don't know, I used to box in PAL. I trained with Olympic boxers up in northern Michigan. That's the Olympic training center for the Olympic boxing team. I like to fight, but I try my best not to. That's been a later stage in life. So yeah, that whole Black and Mild thing is truly not because of smoking. I've never done drugs a day in my life, but that's just what it is.
I've always stood by the mantra of you never want to fight a mild-mannered person. So I would never want to.
Anybody who says they really don't want to fight means you really don't want to fight them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my nickname growing up was Jay Sleazy, but we're not going to harp on that at all because we can kind of know where that goes. So we're not going to talk about that. We have Professor Travis. CJ Robbins says, I agree with Travis. Doug and Balky have shown us who they are. The results of the rest of the season won't change their incompetence.
Right.
Real Man says, I love it, black and mild. Sea Breacher, if they go 9-8, that's 3 straight winning seasons. Jacksonville hasn't had that in 20 years.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Sea Breacher, that sucks that Jacksonville's been so incompetent throughout the rest of their history, and that changes nothing for the future. It don't. I said it when Doug was hired. I'm like, hey man, if Doug Peterson ends up being essentially the reincarnation of Doug Marrone, does that do it for you, Duval? Does that do it for you? If he's basically just that 500 coach or that one game above 500 coach, does that make you happy? Do you care what happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago? No, you don't. So why are we talking about it now? That has nothing. Yesterday got nothing to do with tomorrow. And the price of a house yesterday don't mean I ain't gonna have a house tomorrow. Like the cost of being successful is the cost of being successful, and the cost of being successful today is 10 wins plus, consistent playoff performances.
Especially when you have a $250 million quarterback, a receiver that's a top 15 paid receiver. But
dang right.
I mean, we won't get into this now because I'm gonna let you go. But you could make the argument that it's more Trent Baalke's fault than Doug Peterson's. But at the end of the day, a coach does have to coach who he has. But I don't think Baalke's done him any favors. Your last thoughts?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna let you wrap everything up, and I'm gonna hop off. That way, you get your people in the case you get.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
All
done.
right.
I want to end it with you telling everybody where your next video, your next article, where's your next stuff going to be?
Oh, I mean, well, now since, well, yeah, we got UCF tomorrow, so yeah, BigCatCountry.com. BigCatCountry.com. Do not get your Jaguar news from all these other sources and ESPN and Yahoo and Bleacher Report and all these garbage places that basically are just stealing from all of our information that we're putting out anyways. Let's just go to the original sources. You know, talk to your people on 1010 or, you know, Gen Jag or UCF Jag or whatever. But get it from the local sources, man. You know the places, Locked On, all these other places. Like Duval Dive YouTube. Please head over to Duval Dive at Duval Dive on YouTube. Like and subscribe, please. We have a podcast. We'll be doing that after stream after the game on Sunday, and also we'll be doing every Wednesday. Also, BigCatCountry.com. After the game, I'll have my summary up of whatever the advanced stats, the normal stats, the player of the game, the ball, whoever the game balls, etc. You know all of the stuff. If you don't know, find out. Save it as a favorite. And I appreciate you always having me on, bro, because it's always a good time.
Absolutely. And I say this every time, but I cannot vouch for Travis enough. Like, it's every once in a while you come across somebody in life where you're like, this guy gets it. This guy knows what he's doing and he's good at what he does. You don't meet that very often, but I knew instantly with Travis, even though I put him on the witness stand, I knew it right away. So go follow everything Travis. I didn't link it in the show notes, but he's got it on there for his Twitter. Go follow him. I freaking love talking to you, Travis. I literally cannot explain or reiterate to you enough how important I value your time and that you would spend it talking to me and us. I'm so appreciative. So thank you so much.
I'm going to try my best to come on a lot of Fridays. I can't say every Friday, but a lot of Fridays. We'll try to make that thing happen and see, if it works out for both of our schedules. But I got you, bro.
And one of these days, I'm going to convince Travis to come on and talk politics with me, but we're not there yet. But we will be there soon.
Why not? Why not? You don't want to have a race war? Like, what's wrong with that?
Listen, there won't be a race war with me because I'm actually a critical thinker. So you're not going to bait me into that. So, but I do appreciate it. Thank you guys. Like the video before you're out of here. I will see you guys. I'll be on Tuesday. So you guys know where to find me. Love you guys. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart. I love you, Travis. Thank you for being here.
Love you too, bro.
And I will talk to you guys later. And as always, go Jags.